right, then with this, I will give the virtual mic to our dear guest, Professor Dr. Nina Leffers, who will talk about the Masters in International Management from ETH Regensburg. And then I will go behind the scenes to check your questions, share the links, and also then moderate the Q&A. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nino, for the kind introduction. It's my pleasure to be here today and to introduce the Masters in International Management that we offer in Regensburg. Let me quickly start my presentation. Hold on. With me in the session today is our program manager, Jenny Bingold. So, Master International Management. We do offer quite an attractive master's program in Regensburg, but first of all, and I'd like to start with that, Regensburg is a great city. So, well, I guess apart from a good academic program, one of the most important things to decide on when you apply for a master's or when you apply for a new university is to look at what the city has to offer. And in Regensburg, we do have quite an impressive city. Obviously, you just see a very, very small part of it. And what we're very proud of is that we are a very historic city. And not only that, we do have quite an active and successful local industry. So we do have full employment in Regensburg. We are headquarters or very relevant subsidiaries of some big companies. We do have quite a big BMW plant. Infineon is there, MR is there, Krones is there. And what I do like very much about this city, we have a population of about 165,000, and thereof 33,000 people are students. When I was studying in a city with a similar demographic, and I did very much enjoy the fact that the city was so young and vibrant, and wherever you went, there were young people, interesting people, open to meet new friends. And not only is the city quite an historic city, also our university, OTH, which is the abbreviation for Technical University of Regensburg, and also the business faculty, we do have quite a long history, though the university goes back into the 19th century. We offer quite a wide range of courses, not only in business, but obviously, as the name implies, also in techniques, architecture, social work, and so on. The business faculty has about 2,000 students and more than 30 professors. We are quite proud that we are constantly ranked as one of the best universities of applied sciences, or as one of the best places to study business administration, not only in Bavaria, but also on a national scale. What you see here is our main campus. There's, on that picture, it's a bit an outdated one. There's construction work going on, but it's quite a nice campus. What you see here is the campus lake, where we host parties in summertime and where students really enjoy their leisure time among lectures at the lake on campus. And I'd say this is very, very attractive if you have a good place where to study. But obviously, I'm not here to talk about the city and the university as such, but I talk about my master's program, which is the Master of International Management. The master's degree program in international management really aims at qualifying you for a job in an international company. Obviously, we in Regensburg, we want to attract people to come to Regensburg and also to stay here, to start working in Germany. But we still see that our graduates, they find good jobs not only in Germany but also abroad. We offer a study program, but I think you know that already, that is fully taught in English language. So if you decide for the master's, you can take all courses. You can take all courses you need to complete the master's in English language. There might be some electives in German language, but the master's is fully taught in English. Everything is possible to complete in English language. We also encourage you to gain further experience abroad. We take study trips abroad. We do projects with partner universities, partner companies abroad, and we want to strengthen your international experience even further. The master's is what I would classify as a master's with a very broad general management profile, obviously with an international spike. But in addition to that, I do encourage my students to choose certain functional specializations. So we do offer a couple of specialization modules where you can where you can focus on a certain functional area. That would then also be the area that we would recommend as the topic you should choose, or the focus area you should choose for your master's thesis. What you see here, no worries, I will not go through it in a lot of detail, but what you see here is the basic overview of the master's. It is very common for German masters. I'm sure Nino already gave you all the background information, but it's very common for German masters to run over 3 semesters. And to feature a total of 90 what we call European credit hours, ECTS, European credits. That is very common. Our 3-semester 90 credit master is split over 3 semesters and consists basically of 3 parts. The first part and the majority of the program is core modules. They are taught in the 1st and 2nd semester. In the 2nd semester, as I mentioned before, you have the chance to choose your elective modules to focus on a certain function. There will be what we call a compulsory elective catalog, and the last semester is dedicated to the master's thesis. So let me tell you a bit about these different parts. In the core modules, these are the basic modules, or what I was mentioning earlier as general management modules, that help you acquire leadership skills and that help you to strengthen your spike as a general manager in an international company, are taught in that 1st and 2nd semester. We do have international economic policy. We think it's important if you do international business or if you work in an international company to understand the underlying organizations, to understand what is WTO, what is the GATT treaty, and so on. Then we do offer, obviously, as a consequence to latest trends, we do offer 2 subjects that are dealing with digital business analytics, where you learn how to use data that is available to make better decisions, and digital business innovation, which is around entrepreneurship and innovation in the context of digital entrepreneurship. As the master is an international master, we supplement that list of core modules with an international sales course. The international sales course is dealing obviously with B2B sales and is also featuring a negotiation part. We have an international supply chain management. I talk about that one in a minute. That one is typically taught as an excursion project together with Škoda as part of the Volkswagen brand and a partner university in Czech Republic. Then there is another applied economics course, a consulting project. I used to be a McKinsey project manager, and still have a lot of fun in teaching my students how to run good projects. This is what we do in the consulting project. Then we have a subject on international strategy, leadership skills, and last but not least, sustainable management, which becomes more and more important, not only, I would say, as well, a general challenge for our society, but also as a potential field to specialize in as a graduate from a master's program. Then we have the electives. There you could choose, for example, from marketing courses, supply chain management courses, HR courses, project management courses, whatever you'd like to do in future. And I think this is telling you a bit of the profile that we have in mind, or what we try to educate you for: a general management role in an international company. But obviously, some of our students, they also work in certain functions. We have people starting as brand managers, financial specialists, consultants. I tell you a bit more about that later on. Then in the last semester, you have a lot of time, 5 months, to write your master's thesis. There will be a master seminar supporting you. And at the end of that thesis, you will have to defend your thesis in front of your professors. That's the overview of the program. If you have any questions, just jump in or keep your questions for the end of my presentation. As I said before, we hope to take you abroad during the master's program. Last year and also this year, I went to Oxford Brookes University with my students to work together with UK students on what they call Business Challenge Week, on the project work, where we did real-life consulting cases for local companies. Also, in the past, we did excursions to Qingdao, we've been to Shenzhen, we've been to Tokyo, and typically every semester, my colleague, our former dean, Professor 𝘱𝘉𝘁𝘕, is going to 𝘗𝘀𝘀𝘀 in Czech Republic to do a project with, or to do a supply chain module together with local students and Škoda, which is part of the Volkswagen company and a big automotive company. So going abroad is important, but also we feel that the master students at OTH, or the students in our international management masters, are a very tight-knit community. What you see here is, I would say, quite a good impression of one of the groups we had in the last couple of years, one of the last cohorts. That's in front, that's a very dear professor, Professor Schuckmann. She's doing an international lunch every year where all the students bring something, and this is quite a nice opportunity to meet people and deepen your friendships. But we feel that in the past years, and this is something that we really like about the master program, that there's friendships have been developed with very international students, which is probably not only interesting for the international ones, but for the German students just as well. So that was already an introduction into the program as such. And I do have prepared, if this is interesting for you, or Jenny Bingold has prepared an overview on our application and admission process. Jenny, would you like to continue with application and admission?
Yes, definitely. I can take over from here. I'm not sure whether you'll see my video, but that doesn't matter. Nina has already given you a great overview of the content of our program. Now I would like to just go into the application requirements. Most of you will already have checked them out, either on the My German University website or on our program website at OTH. But just to be clear, there's only only very few formal requirements, namely that you have completed a program in international business studies with the duration of at least 3 years. That equals 180 credits. Ideally, you have more than that, namely 210 credits. That would mean you can be admitted without any further requirements, but I'll go into that a bit later. The second most important requirement is that you have finished your bachelor degree with an overall examination grade of good in the German system. That would equal at least 2.5 or better. This is what we need the VPD for, which Nino has already mentioned it, and you will probably know what it is, but I'll explain that later on as well. So that's why we need the confirmation of your bachelor degree grade. An alternative way would be to prove that if your grade is lower than the 2.5, that you still fall into the group of the best 60% in the percentage ranking from all the students that graduated in your cohort in your bachelor. So yeah, Nino has shared the GPA calculator, which is really helpful. It's basically exactly what uni-assist also uses. So you will have a good idea of what to expect from your uni-assist grade conversion if you use this GPA calculator. The other requirement that Nino has also mentioned already is your proficiency in English. As English is our teaching language, we want to make sure that you are able to follow. That's why we want some proof that you have good knowledge of English, but we do not need one of the tests. We do also accept a proof that you have, for example, completed your whole bachelor degree in the English language, or that you have extensive work experience in an English-speaking country, or that you have done studies abroad in an English-speaking country. So any of these would also work. Only if you can't prove this, then we would require one of the tests, and we accept all of the tests. Basically, the level should be C1. And we will also make sure that your English is up to date in our aptitude test. That is the last and maybe most important part of our admission process. We will have an oral aptitude test. So each of the applicants that qualify through the formal requirements will be invited to a short interview where we will just check whether all that you are on paper is really what you will be giving us once you come to us as a student. So if you switch to the next slide. Yeah, there's some additional info, which I already mentioned, is the second part. If you have less than the 210 credits, you will be required to take some extra courses simultaneously to your master classes. So that's something that we will discuss at the very beginning of your program. It could lead to an extension of your study time for one semester because you have 30 additional credits to take, which is normally a full semester workload. But many of our students also manage to really do that at the same time. So they would take some extra courses in each of the regular master semesters and still manage to finish within the 3 semesters. The other thing is that if you have a very good GPA, then we have the option of admission to the program without taking the aptitude test. So that means if you're in the top 10% of the graduates in your study program, or if your degree mark translates as something between 1 and 1.2 in the German grading system, then you can be exempt from the oral aptitude test. All right, then, the documents you need for application is basically your bachelor degree certificate and a transcript of records. If you don't have these at the point of admission application, which is right now, because you're maybe still finishing your bachelor degree, then you can also upload a provisional transcript of records, and you just have to make sure that all the other documents are submitted to our study department before the end of your first semester. Then what I already mentioned as well is that we need the VPD from UniAssist. Nino has already mentioned that there are great articles on the My German University website that will explain to you exactly what the VPD is and how to obtain it. One of the biggest problems is that the VPD takes some time and up to 6 weeks, but I have seen it take slightly longer as well. So if you have not applied for a VPD by now, it might be difficult to get that in time for before the end of our application period. However, you can definitely take this knowledge for next year's admission. And yeah, the VPD, we do not insist that you need to have the specific VPD for the university, OTH university. You can also use one of the VPDs if you have already applied for another university and have an older VPD. You can definitely also upload this to our application platform. Yeah, of course, all documents need to be in German or English and have to be certified translated by a certified translator. So that should come naturally. All right, then, yeah, the aptitude test that I have already mentioned, it's basically just a quick interview. We will test that you already have some knowledge in the most important parts for our master program. So you should be ready to have a little discussion about topics in international business management and intercultural competence, economics, marketing. What we want is to see that you have some concepts in these fields, that you know how to deal with questions that fall into these fields of expertise. So it's not going to be like a real-on test, more like a talk where we see whether you are up to date and can follow the master's program. The test will be conducted via Zoom. So yeah, you will be invited to the test by email, so there's nothing to worry about. You will definitely receive an email if you fulfill the formal requirements that I mentioned earlier. Right, I think, yeah, that was most of the important information. As I mentioned, our application deadline for the start in this winter semester is already coming to an end on the 15th of June. The oral tests will take place in the first week of July, hopefully. And yeah, so if you already have your VPD, don't hesitate, get on our application platform and start uploading your applications. And if not, then hopefully keep us in mind for next year's start. Our program only starts in the winter semester, so the next opportunity to apply for the program would be in May to June 2025. So I've seen that there's a question in the meantime. Oh, Nina is already answering. I've also already answered some of the questions that came up. Yeah, so that was all the information from our side. Now I think we are
Danny, there was one question open on the format of the application, whether we need anything physical or an employment.
Oh no, we don't need anything physical. All applications are fully handled digitally through our application platform. So if you go to the program website, you will have an automatic link to the application page. And yeah, it's just a normal application platform where you will be guided through yeah, the whole process where you need to upload stuff, put in your personal data and everything, but it should be pretty self-explanatory, or there will be links to where to ask for help. But you don't need to send in anything physically, it's just all digital. Yeah, I think there was an earlier question, Nina, where I just replied very quickly, where someone wanted to know some more information what practical projects look like and whether we only mean internships when we are talking about practical. And I think in that moment you were talking about Thomas Liebetrud's excursion to 𝘱𝘓𝘕𝘪𝘳𝘳𝘓. So I hope this question has been clarified a bit. But if there's anything else that you can think of, maybe
I can jump in saying thank you very much for the presentation and also for answering questions in Q&A in written form. I would like to still voice some of the questions that you answered, since attendees receive them privately, and this could be also of interest to others. Especially the one that came the very first, I guess, was about the VPD. And Jenny, your answer was really interesting, that sometimes people, when they are applying to your master's program, they are still in the process of finalizing their studies. Could you please, if you don't mind, repeat this special case when you apply for VPD in advance, so to say, and you are still doing your final exams?
Exactly. So normally the VPD is a very necessary part of the application. So we need it before the end of the application period. But the only exemption from that is if you are not completely finished with your bachelor degree right now, if you're maybe still waiting for the grading of your final class or anything, and you do not have your final transcript yet, then UniAssist will not issue a VPD. Instead, what you will do, you will still have to apply for the VPD, even though you're not finished. And then UniAssist will answer you that at the current stage, they cannot assess your study program and they cannot issue a VPD. And then you need to upload this together with your application. And then we will just look at your provisional degree and assess that for ourselves. But that is only for people who have not finished their bachelor's yet. If you have finished your bachelor degree, if you have your bachelor certificate, your final transcript, then we do need the VPD.
Great, thank you. And just to finalize this question of UniAssist and VPD, because I also frequently come across these things, I just want to let you know that, first of all, the article that also Jenny mentioned about VPD is in the chat. And second of all, please check country by country special requirements set by UniAssist, which are not set by the 𝘱𝘓𝘳𝘳𝘓𝘕 Regensburg, but depending on from which country you have your previous degree obtained, you might need to submit additional documents. So if you just Google UniAssist country by country and then write your country from which you have your degree, you will see what additional you need to submit for VPD as well. Then there was one question which was about, and it was also answered by Jenny. Can somebody apply with to do a second master's? And then Jenny, you said you can, but only bachelor will be checked. However, we also frequently get a question: will that be additional? Will there be any additional prices? Because I think depending on federal lengths, if you are doing second master, that could also cost something. Is it the case with you?
No.
Definitely not. So no matter where your first master was taken, whether it was in Germany or somewhere abroad, that will not change your tuition fee or anything. We will not be charging any tuition fees in the next for the cohorts that starts in this semester. Currently, tuition fees are very much discussed in Bavaria. So we don't know what the structure will be in the future, but for now we have decided to not ask for any tuition fees for international students. So this will not make a difference whether you already have a master's degree or not. You can definitely apply. Then if I just may cut in, there was another question which I would just reply in speaking instead of writing in the Q&A. There was someone who has a bachelor that was not in business studies as such. It was a design bachelor in a 4-year program. And you said it had a few marketing and management subjects. So a few will probably not be sufficient for us. For us, our rule of thumb is that we consider a degree in international business if of 180 credits, at least 120 should be business oriented, should have some relation to business. So if a design degree, I assume it will be the other way around. You will be having the emphasis on design subjects, and the marketing and management subjects might only be a bit of an add-on. Then, unfortunately, I think, to be honest, it will not be the right program for you.
Just to also add to the same question, the person then added on that also 4 years of work experience in brand marketing and management.
Yeah, right.
Still
Thanks
not
for pointing that out. Yeah. Unfortunately, we cannot consider any work experience. We will really just look at the academic qualifications. I know that this might be a bit frustrating because I know that a lot of people who have studied something else have worked very successfully in business environments. But as we are a very academic program as well, we really want to make sure that our students have the basics also in the theoretical realm and not only the practical experiences.
There has been another question on the start of the program. No, we will only start in winter, no summer. There will be no summer start, not now and not now in future, unfortunately.
And I think there was also a question that about recommendation letters. So will it help if people share or send some additional documents, like, I don't know, recommendation from academics? No.
We are not looking into this. We are taking the time to get to know everyone in the aptitude test and the oral test, and that's your chance to prove that you have good skills in relevant areas, but no recommendation that are needed.
And I think Pari wants to apply. And is it possible to take any short course to compensate for the design degree?
No, unfortunately, I don't think this is the option. I think there are other degrees around in Germany that will accept students from different backgrounds, from their different bachelor backgrounds.
I think there's one in Ingolstadt that you could look at.
Yeah, but for us, I think there's nothing to compensate the lack of the fitting bachelor program.
Or maybe you can also take bachelor in 𝘗𝘪𝘵 and then
exactly. You could, of course, also take a bachelor first.
Absolutely, but in German language then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you stay more time in this beautiful place. I see still one question, but I really cannot understand what it says. I think it's about some language certificate.
Jenny, I think you're the best to answer what kind of language certificates are needed.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, if you have any of the big tests that Nino mentioned in the beginning as well, be it the TOEFL or whatever, then of course use that. If you have the test result, just upload this with your application. But even if you don't have the test results of one of the big test providers, but you have, for example, done your complete bachelor degree in English, or you have worked for a substantial time in an English-speaking country, in an English environment, or if you have studied abroad in an exchange program in English, then you can also upload proof of that, and we will accept that as your proof of English. And as we mentioned now, we will, of course, also test your English knowledge in our oral aptitude test. So don't be worried too much about the language certificates. If you just need to upload something that lets us see, okay, this person studied in English or has worked in the English language or has one of the tests. But then we will make our own picture. We will just see how you are dealing with the English language in the interviews.
suggestion should it was about university or program offered by Ingolstadt.
Oh, yeah.
You can go to our study finder, then write on Ingolstadt and then browse the programs there. So I think it was the question.
Yeah.
All the other questions I think were more technical, which were all covered in presentation and also individually in to your direct answers. And just one last thing that also I think I also missed it. Did you mention you have a restricted amount of places? So do you rank students by this aptitude test, and then you also have CGPA requirement, minimum requirement? So what was the rough amount of
Yeah.
class sizes?
We do not have a fixed number of students. In general, we will accept everyone who meets the requirements. So if you meet the requirements that are based on the grade in the bachelor season, the bachelor degree and the aptitude test, then you get a place in the program. There's no fixed number.
And now a final question about VPD, and then we can call it a day. From my side, I will say, dear Ayo, that VPD is valid for 1 year. So if you receive it now, you can still use for the next application period. And without that, you cannot apply right now, if I correctly understand.
Yeah, that is correct. If you don't get it before the 15th of June, then you can unfortunately not apply for this semester. But if the VPD was issued now on the, I don't know, July 1st or something, then of course you can use it for next year's application. We will still accept this, if you apply again.
Great. Then thank you so much